Yo guys, so it looks like Kusante is yet again broken on PB. So he does get some stat changes as attack range reduced from 175 to 150. Base attack damage is increased by 2 for the lack of attack range. So generally speaking, champions that have lower attack ranges, they tend to have more base AD generally speaking. Base attack speed is increased by slightly. This will just allow him to have smoother basic attacks, so and also the attack speed ratio is somewhat higher, which just generally speaking means that because you lack that extra reach, you'll have a better sort of wind up sort of attack speed, right? Which just allows you to like basic attack, last hit a minion really quickly, and perhaps walk away from that, potentially walk away from a poking ability, such as a Mordekaiser Q or what not. Aatrox, right? Better example. Now, the base damage is increased not from, so basically from 5 to 20 based on level. So this is based on level. So at level 18 you would get maximum value, and at level 7 you would have 10, but now you get actually 20 damage from default, which is actually very nice. Now it no longer provides you 25 bonus range, so what does that mean? He will have 50 less range. That's a notable thing, right? 50 less range. It's good to know. So it means that there will be less so much auto spacing on Kusante because you will lack that 50 range. So champions that do actually get sometimes auto spaced, or perhaps this is sort of skill check that sometimes you can get off. You get a free basic. It will happen less so often. So it's just really a auto spacing mechanic that's removed. Now, no longer converts the bonus damage to true damage while in all out form. It means no true damage, which means you are generally speaking worse against tanks, but you guys gonna see the ice on the cake soon. No longer increases the damage while in all out form, so no true damage and no bonus damage, right? But new effect, Kusante basic attacks, abilities, and passive. So not only basic attacks, not only the ability, but the passive proc itself, right? So 3 things, not 1, 3. And so usually, like if you Q and you basic attack, right? That means that you procure, it's a basic attack and you procure passive, which is 2 instances of this HP based damage proc. So of the target's maximum health, right? So it has a base 1%, right? Plus you get a 1% every 100 bonus armor and more. This can obviously like ramp up to, for example, if you have 300 armor, 300 MR, maybe you have Jackshaw or something in the late game. You know, you can get that extra 6% as an example, so still you're gonna have some anti-tank capabilities. Now the notable thing is not only that we have 20 more damage of our passive, right? Your Q will actually deal significantly, but I put emphasis on significantly more damage, so the base damage is increased from 30, right, 30 to 70. That's 40 damage. When did you guys see in the past such a damage buff for a short cooldown, short ranged ability? Like borderline, you never see such a fat buff. Now I don't think Kusante's early game is not weak, but often it's weak because he is sort of a mid-late game scaling, more so scaling oriented champion, where Riot Games wanted to sort of take away his early game power, so it's not too strong, but it looks like his early game will be quite dominant. And so the funny thing is, this might be a typo, I'm not 100% sure about these, if they really intentionally made it or unintentionally, but the armor ratio is also increased by a 5% and the MR ratio, right? So for example, if you have, basically if you have 100 MR, 100 armor, you get 10 more damage. That's quite notable, right? And the interesting thing is in the max levels, right? So if you do actually check out the max levels, you do actually get a 60 amount of damage. So you actually deal 60 more damage. So it's not only a 40 early game buff, even later on it does get a decent amount of damage. Now the cast time is apparently increased by somewhat, right? So cast time is increased from 0.45 0.35. So later on, but basically this is just based on bonus HP, right? I mean, basically this is the same in the early game, no? Based on bonus resistances. Oh wait, so it's... Oh, so it's like cooldown change based on bonus resistances, based on bonus formula change. So basically 1.75, it goes down to 1.75, At 250. At 250 it's 175. And 1.75 at 120. What? Wait, but isn't that just a massive buff though? It does look like it. Okay. Cooldown reduction while in all-out form is increased to 33% from 25, which will allow you to spam this a little more often, to get as much damage as possible out. Now, minimum cooldown reduced to 1.117 from 1.33. New effect now slows enemies while all out. It's not actually specifically shown by how much, it just will slow. So basically we go back to the old Kusante where you build Iceborne, where you spam your Q and basically it has some OP chasing power. Minimum range duration reduced, minimum charge duration reduced to 0.4 from 0.66, so it's easier to kidnap people, push them under tower after a Q. The notable thing is that you do actually get to get those wall angles off way more easily. Base damage is higher by 20 early on. In general it's 20. And now it no longer scales with 50% AD, 30% bonus armor, bonus magic resistances. Damage health ratio changed, so it's 8% at all levels, so it means early on you will deal a bit more damage. But later on it's 2% less, which is not super concerning because it does get a new effect. Health ratio now scales with 2% per bonus armor and 2% per bonus magic resistances. What does this mean? Basically, in the late game, for the lack of that 2%, late game it will deal more damage, mid-late game similar, but more, obviously it's gonna be more. Definitely it's nice. Stun duration reduced to 0.5 though, which is notable, so it will actually deal more damage. Actually, I'm not 100% sure if it will deal more damage, because obviously they remove the ratios, right? So that's a bit questionable. So they reduce the stun duration, right? New effect stun duration now increases up to 1.5 based on okay, I guess, so it stuns more if you hold it more. Okay, I mean, that's fine. That's weird. A new effect now deals 10% to 100% based on channel time of Path Maker's damage as bonus through damage. What? What? Wait, what the fuck did I read? Channel time, so if you channel it for 0.94, which is realistic after a Q, or if you wanna chain it, you can, basically use it for like the 60% value. But depends on the situation, obviously 60 or 100 depends. So now there's 10 to 100% based on channel time of Path Maker's damage as bonus through damage. What? Huh? Huh? What? Does this sound as strong as I think it does? It seems to be a bit broken. Damage reduction is also notably increased in the all-out form, so you take even less damage by 15%, which is quite a lot, so it's even less likely you're gonna die. Now, his mobility is somewhat cut, so the dash speed is reduced from 550 from 900. Dash speed while in all-out form is reduced to 950 from 1450. So this will slightly cut his mobility, and it's less likely you can dash away just in time from that specific poking ability like an Aatrox Q, Mort Q, whatnot. So you have to time the ability better. Dash speed towards allies no longer scales with 100 bonus movement speed. I mean, that's fine. Dash speed towards allies while in all-out form is increased though. Cooldown is reduced by a half a second early on, then later on by half a second. It's basically half a second, but the cooldown is now reduced by 50% in the all-out form, and that's actually notable because having that shield being spammable and having more resistances from your W will make you more durable in the form that you're not supposed to be super durable, if it makes sense. And I think he will have lots of chasing power. Like, he will have 4 cooldown if he's maxed out on E. But basically, because you build Iceborne and some other cooldown items, possibly, it will be even less. So that's just weird. It no longer can go through terrain, so there will be more counterplay against K'Sante, but if there is a target, it does, right? So there will be a bit more. Walls can be a counterplay against K'Sante if you can dash through it. A damage time changed to physical from magic damage, right? Which is actually good if by chance you do actually value dealing a bit more physical damage than magic damage in your matchup. But that's usually not the case in top lane, more so against the Kassad. In mid lane, I guess that would matter, but it will not be all that significant, honestly. No longer scarce with AP. It was a random AP ratio anyways, because I mean, basically there's no reason to build AP K'Sante. It's mainly like an arena thing, I guess, where you get sometimes random AP from random sources, so can be a little bit useful, but not really. Bonus damage now scales with 5% bonus health, but the duration is reduced to 15 from 20, which means it lasts as much as a Renekton or Nasus are. So the bonus damage now scales with 5% bonus health. So is the bonus damage referring to the passive damage or what? I'm not exact. I think it is. Or the bonus attack damage, or I think it's the mark, but I'm not sure because they said they removed the bonus damage from the mark, so I'm a bit confused about this one. Can no longer be cancelled early by recasting. I mean, was that even a thing? Wait, was that even a thing? I didn't even know this existed. No longer gains 10 to 25 to 40. So you don't get any more anything. Nothing, no AD. Bonus attack speed is also notably increased, actually. So it's 15 more. 80? What the fuck? That's a lot of attack speed. Omnivamp is increased to 25, so you're gonna attack quicker. You're gonna slow with your Q. And now you gain 60% armor pen. I mean, Pantheon basically gets 10 at level 6. And only at 16 he gets half amount. He gets how much, guys? 30%. 30%. I mean, what the fuck? Like, what? So what bonus damage now scales with 5% bonus health. But what? Wait, this is a bit confusing. So I think that's referring to his passive, but the weird thing is no longer converts the bonus damage to true damage, no longer increases the damage while all out, right? Oh, this one. Oh. Yeah, now I get it. I was a bit confused for some random. It's his passive, okay. So 5%, which means it's basically like 50 every 1000 HP. So that's notable. So on-hit stuff, I guess. Huh? Wouldn't wonder if there will be some on-hit item that will be builded on K'Sante or something. Some of the okay. It looks like it's a buff. It looks like it's quite a heavy buff, actually. At most it's a buff, and yeah, I think the champion is 1000 times more fun in the early game. It does look like he will be kind of strong, cause like 60% armor pen, Omnivamp max value, attack speed goes very fucking high. I mean, it doesn't last 20 seconds, it lasts 15, but like it's very rare when you actually need the whole duration to kill a champion, so that's not gonna be that big of a deal. I guess like the dash range kinda matters chasing wise, right? But again, like you will perma slow, so I'm not sure how much does that matter. I mean, this is also like very interesting because this is also true damage, so it's basically HP based true damage. Isn't that kinda... Makes me think, isn't that kinda strong then? Interesting. Because like you gotta remember, you have two W's, right? So like one in base form and one in all out form. And so they can deal a flat amount of damage, obviously, plus a certain percentage HP based damage. So I think it's referring to the flat damage. And it says as bonus true damage. So it doesn't say as it converts it. It says as bonus true damage, right? So I think it's referring to the flat value, 120, plus like it will be over 8%, you know. Yeah, so it looks like if you, for example, W, right, into a R, and then you W again, it looks like that can be like over 20% HP based damage out of this ability, plus the flat values. Looks interesting, but it also incentivizes holding into W. Yeah, it looks kinda strong. I'm not sure if it will be quite OP. It looks a bit OP as well, but it's definitely very strong. That's it for now, guys. Have a nice day.